Right, for this second product based live, we're going to be looking at the Dandy Garden suite. Just trying to find the live video so I can share it. The Dandy Garden suite is a big suite. If you get the whole entire suite, it's £135 worth of product. So it is a big suite. There is lots in there, and lots of loveliness in there as well. So what we're going to do, hi Angie, lovely to have you with me live. I hope you're doing okay. I know you've not been having much of a fun time at the moment, but welcome in. We're sort of throughout the whole of the day coming on live, looking at new products that are launching today in the catalogue. And I'm just sharing this across to my customer group. So that hit that share on that. So the Dandy Garden suite. What is the Dandy Garden suite? Now this is stamp sets, dies, and punches and papers and all sorts of things that allows you to really get creative with those almost like garden projects, let's call them. So you've got your dandelions, you've got your wildflowers, you've got your dragonflies, you've got butterflies, you've got bees, you've got all sorts of loveliness in this suite. And I'm running around like a loon today, as I'm sure you can imagine, and I've not even pulled out the stamp sets. They are all here ready to go. 1, 2 stamp sets. There is one big set of dies. There is a punch. There's some gorgeous little trinkets. Hopefully I'm going to find buried in the bottom of here. There's some twine. Now I haven't got everything that's in this suite. And there's papers. I've got the papers. The bits that I haven't actually got yet are the Memory and More sections of this suite. So the suite in total consists of a stamp set and die bundle, a stamp set and coordinating punch bundle. We seem to have a lot of sirens flying around out here. I hope everybody is all right and there's not any major emergencies. So stamp set and dies, stamp set and punch. You've got papers. You've got braided linen trim. You've got these gorgeous little trinkets that we will look at in a bit more detail. We have these lovely die cut pieces that we will have a look at. I have got those. And then you've got the Memory and More cards. So you've got a pack of Memory and More cards, and then there are some Memory and More card bases and envelopes. Obviously you don't need to use those with your Memory and More cards. You can use them with your card stocks in general. But really beautiful. So let's have a look at these in the flesh, as it was, a bit close up and personal. So let's start with the Garden Wishes stamp set. So you've got a whole little collection in here. You've got these sort of dandelions. So this dandelion is sort of a dandelion in flower, almost. This one is sort of dandelion that's gone to seed. You've got your little seeds that are flying away here. You've got this little blobby bit just here that you could use to add colour to either of these stamped images. You've got your gorgeous little bee just there. You've got the loop that the bee has just done, and you've got some really lovely sentiments and great font. Your acts of kindness are like a breath of fresh air. Wishing you all the best, obviously, to go with your dandelion wishes. So really gorgeous. The dies that go with that, so it's a big set of dies. You've got the dies that cut out those stamped images. You've got dies that will cut out your bees. You've got some grass here, another one just there. You've got these dies that will build up into a dandelion. You've got this one here with its stem, and then you've got these smaller ones that you can build up on the top. You've got this one here that is your dandelion once all your wishes have blown away. You've got the dandelion leaves. Yeah, so really lovely dies. So that gorgeous set of dies that goes with the Garden Wishes stamp set. And then you get the Dragonfly Garden. So you get this gorgeous stamp, big stamp with all these wildflowers on. You get 2 different dragonflies, so you've got sort of slightly different detail on their wings. You've got this sort of blobby stamp just here that you can use to add colour to your dragonfly wings if you would like to. You've got this little flurry of butterflies. I'm not sure what the collective noun for a butterfly is. And then you've got these gorgeous sentiments in these lovely fonts. May good things grow all year long. You are an inspiration. Just really lovely. Now these dragonflies you can punch out with your dragonfly punch, and you also have a small little dragonfly there that you can punch out little dragonflies to add embellishments to some of your projects. And you will see as we get to the papers that you can punch out some of the images in the papers as well. Love this. It is braided linen trim, but it is in mossy meadow. Just fabulous. Love it. So that is the trim that goes with this particular suite. We have the little ladybirds. Look at those. And as Angie says, you can colour them. So get your permanent markers out. Add a bit of colour to your little ladybugs. They're really lovely. So they're a good weight. They're not too heavy, but they're a nice weight. Metallic embellishments. We have this, I've even got my catalogue open on the right page. It's still open. In fact, I think that's because I've got 2 catalogues on the go. We need to swing to page 24 to 27 is where you'll find all of these beautiful products in this suite. Now these are called the Dandy Laser Cut Paper. That's what I wanted. I wanted the name. Yours won't come with a rhinestone. That one has just wandered, obviously. So that's not an integral part of the selection. So what you have here is these laser cut panels. 1 each of 2 designs, and they're quite a thick cardstock. You can use them to add panels onto your card fronts. You can cut elements out of them. You could use them as stencils. Get these little flowers and leaves at the side here that you can pop out and colour. How beautiful is that? Look at all those dragonflies. Really gorgeous. That would be a lovely stencil, wouldn't it? But would equally make a lovely background. And then you've got these sort of circular labels here, and obviously the circles themselves that you can use. You've got these little flowers and leaves that are going to pop out, these dragonflies that are going to pop out. You've got a label there, and you've got a panel with a border in. So they are really lovely, and they are a good weight. They're a cardstock as opposed to a paper. So they will happily allow you to spritz them and those other fancy things. Use your gilding, your gold leafing on them. Lovely. So that's those. And then you've got your papers. Now the paper pack for this one is a 6x6 paper pack. And you've got sort of calypso corals, you've got the dandelions sort of coming all through, you've got butterflies, and they've got butterflies, they're dragonflies, you've got background prints. That would be quite nice colouring in, wouldn't it? You could sit and colour that in. Got all the bees. And you can see with these, you'll be able to take your punches to those and punch out both big and small dragonflies to add to projects. real sort of meadowy wildflowers, and sort of a quite unusual sort of colour palette, which makes it exciting. Have something a little bit different to use. Now I do have a little pile of cards here that I've created with these. We used this particular suite was one that when we had our Stamping Up on stage at home event, we used this particular suite. We were given instructions and sort of made our make and takes, if you like, from home. So this was the suite that we used for that. And I've used it since. This is a blog post that will be going live at 4 o'clock this afternoon. The image has been watercoloured, and look, there's one of those little ladybugs on there and some of that thread. So I have already been playing with this suite. I've got a couple of other projects that are out there in tutorial bundles and various things. So quite a bit of inspiration out there already with this suite. But it's really lovely, and we'll have a quick play with it again now. So, where shall we start? Quite fancy starting with this dandelion here. I've not used this dandelion. So this is the sort of gone to seed dandelion. You've got your little blowy away seed bits. Perhaps we'll have a little bee coming in at some point, and we might add in his loop the loop. Right, we'll decide on a greeting in a little bit. Now we have a die that will cut this out. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to take of Whisper White card and this dandelion stamp. Is that going to fit on that block? Yes, it is. We have some gilding flakes all over the place. I'm going to take that stamp, and I'm going to take, let's go Old Olive. I'm going to stamp that dandelion on there with that Old Olive. I'm just going to take a blender pen and just very gently. I do only want to be gently because I haven't used shimmery white cardstock. Hi Jackie. I'm just going to colour in that stem. Now, to take a piece of vellum. Let me clean up this stamp. And some Versamark and some white embossing powder. ink up this top. I've stabbed myself with a pair of scissors. That was clever, wasn't it? I'm going to ink up the top of this stamp and stamp it onto my vellum and bring in some white embossing. And my heat gun. Let's heat up that vellum just there. Right. Got my die. My little mini machine that you too can now get your hands on if you haven't already. And I'm going to need to trim that in order to pop that through the machine because of the direction it needs to go in. I'm going to line up that flower head in my machine. Like that. Bring in a second plate and run that through there. So there we have our little white embossed dandelion head. Just got something out the corner of my eye. It's one of the cats, one of our local cats that likes to come and play. Running past the front of the window. Let's line up this die. Now, this is where I'm wondering whether I attempt to pop that over the green. I think that will work actually. I think I quite like the fact that there's a bit of darkness underneath there. So I'm going to trim this round sort of where the flower head is and take some glue dots and I'm just going to put a glue dot in the centre here because there's quite a bit of embossing and things there, so that will help to disguise the fact that there's a glue dot in the centre there, and then we'll lay that over the top. So now we have our wispy white dandelion on its green fork. I'm going to find a bit of old olive and cut some grassy bits. Let's just run that through there. So I'm hoping what today will do is help you decide which of the things in the new catalogue you think are fabulous and that you can't live without. There's always going to be some things that you think, I could live without that, but that's okay too. It's about helping you with those choices. We've got a couple of little bits of grass there. Bring in bring some of that green out a little bit. And like a bit of balmy blue there. And it will come in with a stitched rectangle. What size would we like? That one looks quite a good size. Chop that. And although this might squeeze through the little one, I am just running it through the big one, which is set up just beside me here. There's a bit of blue. I seem to have picked up a bit of gunky something or other on there. So we have our dandelion and our grasses. Got our little bee just here. Let's stamp him onto a little bit of white cardstock. I'm going to use some Memento Black to stamp him, because I'm going to come in with some dark Daffodil Delight. To colour in a few sort of yellow stripes, and then I'm going to take the light Seaside spray and just highlight the edges of those wings. And we'll need a little bee die cut. To be or not to be? That is the question. So the sort of line art on these stamps and things is quite sketchy. Not sketchy as in, you know, not quite up to par, but sketchy as in sketchbook sketchy. And absolutely made for colouring in with all your different colouring in tools. Now we've got our loop the loop there. I believe I also got out somewhere the little dandelion seeds. Where have you gone, little dandelion seeds? You see, you shouldn't get them all out to start with, because then you can't find them. There's our bee. Aha, that's why I can't find them. They've flown away. They've flown away onto the floor. Let's take these little dandelion seeds, and again I think we're going to want some Versamark and white embossing powder. Because we're going to want these seeds to fly away in the breeze. There they are, floating off into the distance on the breeze. Now this Dandy Garden suite is going to be the next suite that we use with the Lily Pad Stamp Club. I might just take my scissors, and I missed slightly when I cut that out, so that stem is slightly wider than it should be, and the same with these leaves just here, just a bit out of proportion from one side to the other. That's better. Let's add in our dandelion so that it's positioned so that the seeds are floating off. Let's take some mini dimensionals. For our grass, I'm going to trim that dimensional so it's not sticking out the side. worrying about putting anything on the top of the grass because that's just wispy and wild. Now, where has our little bee gone? I'd got him carefully put to one side. There he is. And we have our little loop the loop for our bee. Let's have that coming in off the side. That's a bit blobby, but that's okay because that's where our bee is going to be. Right. That's quite fun. I'm going to take a little bit of Misty Moonlight cardstock, I think. Let's just measure that. It's about 7.5 by 11, so 8 by 11.5. Seven and a half. 8. Misty Moonlight card base, and we'll cut a piece of this DSP, so it is 14.4 by 10. And then let's pick a greeting to go alongside that. Oh. I quite like the wishing you all the best. It seems to be very appropriate with them. With our wishes floating away. And let's stick our stitched rectangle to that piece of Misty Moonlight there, and we'll stick this paper. So this paper has this beautiful calypso coral background with white dandelions on. Let's take some Misty Moonlight ink. I have to keep stopping and thinking, where are these things? Because that one I think may be in my box down here. Oh, perhaps it isn't. Yes, it must be. Ooh, there you are. Oh, overstamped that slightly. That's better. Had a landslide, chopped this and something else fell off. And we'll stick that onto a little bit of Misty Moonlight too. Just popping the lid on my embossing powder because I fear that may be a disaster waiting to happen. That one a little bit of a jaunty angle. Or do I? That's perhaps a bit better. We'll just have it to one side. I'm going to put a little bit of a dimensional on one end and glue on the other. Bit like that. Let's get rid of that little mark. So there we have quite a nice sort of clean and simple wishing you all the best dandelion and bee card. Let's just clean these stamps up and then we'll have a quick play with some dragonflies. These ones back. So these are red rubber stamps, so if you want to do some, if you wanted to do some triple heat embossing with that dandelion head, you could do. That would be quite fun. So let's move that little card to one side. Quick slurp of my tea that's going cold. And let's bring in the dragonflies. They're just beautiful. So you could heat emboss these. Add watercolour to them. Lots of options. Just digging about for some coloured cardstock. Let's have a bit of Pretty Peacock and mint macaron. So not the colours that you find in the papers at all. I've got a magpie dancing the light fandango on the conservatory roof. I don't know whether that's because he approves of my colour choice or whether he's trying to tell me that that's just a terrible idea and to change them immediately. Right, I'm going to take that large stamp, these large wildflower stamp. You could have great fun colouring this in. Lots of different coloured wildflowers, but we're just going to use it as a bit of a background stamp at the moment. We're going to have the colour focus on our dragonfly. So I'm going to take some mint macaron. So we're having mint macaron on mint macaron. And I'm going to stamp this across the background. Let's have another one. And drop it down a bit so it's slightly shorter. And then I might just come in without re-inking, just in the background there, so we've got a sense of a full meadow of flowers going across there. I'm going to take these dragonflies, let's take my oddments of Whisper White. Are they big enough? I think so. I'm really using up my oddments of Whisper White. That's been not quite knowing when you're going to get a colour back in stock really does focus the mind. My ink block's gone, my stamping blocks. It's a mystery. I'm going to take both of these dragonflies, stamp them. That one's slightly over stamped on the bottom, but that's okay because we are going to, hello Stella, we're going to punch them out anyway. And then, let's see, we've used mint macaron and pretty peacock, so let's grab those out. I think we'll have some misty moonlight. Bring in that yellow, let's see how that goes. So I could sit here and sort of go along all these waves and put different colours onto each bit, but I'm not, you might have noticed. Not on this occasion, but that would be very therapeutic if you're looking for something to amuse you. So that was just the light misty moonlight. This is the light pretty peacock. Over the edge slightly there, so I could come back in with my colour lifter. Okay, I'm going to bring in some dark mint macaron. Before bringing in my light mint macaron and sort of blending that all in together. I just take the dark misty moonlight and bring that in on the body just there. So there's one dragonfly. This one. Some dark pretty peacock. Let's bring in some light pretty peacock. And then we'll come in again with the light mint macaron all over the top. Just to blend those colours together. Might just randomly bring a little bit of daffodil delight in down this body, and then perhaps the light misty moonlight. Right, let's come in with our punch. And punch those out. There's one. sorry, wobbling you around. And 2. Going to hopefully grab a wink of Stella. Just add in some glittery highlights. Is that coming out? Is that one about empty? Looks a little bit more optimistic. So we'll just put a brush of Wink of Stella over those wings to give them a touch of iridescence and sparkle. Doesn't show up particularly well in this light. It'll be when the sunshine catches it or the light in the evening catches it, that will show up. Two little dragonflies there. So they are very definitely giving us the focal point on that card. Let's have May Good Things Grow all year long. And we'll come in, ooh, if I don't drop it on the floor, with some pretty peacock. So a quite simple little card. But one that really helps those dragonflies to pop, and they will particularly so once the light picks up on that Wink of Stella. But there's going to be lots of ways you're going to be able to add colour to these. You'll be able to watercolour them, use that infill stamp to give that sort of watercolour effect, use your watercolour pencils. Heat emboss them in gold. You could heat emboss them on vellum. And colour on the back of the vellum to give that sort of soft wispy effect. But really, really beautiful, those little dragonflies. So there's a couple more cards. We have dandelions on vellum, buzzy bees doing loop-the-loops. But another really great suite of products that I'm sure that you will really love and have a lot of use out of, particularly here in the UK where our bumblebees and our dragonflies and our dandelions, I don't know how generic they are across the world, but certainly for us here in the UK they are very familiar. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and I will be back a little while later with another suite of products.